Dynasty Warriors. For a long time, that game felt like a relic of the past, a franchise that once dominated the PlayStation 2 era but slowly lost its identity over time. If you don't know or you never heard of what Dynasty Warriors game is about, it's basically a hack and slash action game inspired by the Three Kingdoms era of ancient China. More specifically, the classic novel romance of the Three Kingdoms surrounding three major factions Shu, Wu, and Wei. The series first began in 1997 with Dynasty Warriors 1, released by Koei on PS1, which was actually a 3D fighting game, similar to Tekken or Street Fighter. The difference is, instead of using an original fictional character, they use historical figures like Cao Cao or Lu Bu. Then, in year 2000, more specifically August 3, 2000, everything changed with the release of Dynasty Warriors 2. This is the game that defined the series' signature 1v1000 hack and slash gameplay, giving birth to what we know as the Musou genre. From there, the franchise kept growing, with new characters, bigger battles, more dramatic retelling of the Three Kingdoms story, until everything came crashing down in 2018, with the release of Dynasty Warriors 9. Yep, that game. As much as I want to talk about how much Dynasty Warriors 9 deserved the backlash it received, in this video, I want to focus something far more important, Dynasty Warriors Origins, the game that brought this franchise back from the dead. Narratively, Dynasty Warriors Origins isn't telling a new story, and that's not a criticism. The romance of the Three Kingdoms has been retold dozens of times, including multiple times within this very franchise. What Origins changes isn't the story itself, but how we, as a player, experience it. This time, instead of playing as established historical legends from the start, we're introduced to an original protagonist, a wandering mercenary suffering from memory loss named Zilwan. Yes, the amnesiac main character is a familiar trope that hundreds of other games have already done. But here, it serves a clear purpose. Zilwan acts as a narrative anchor, allowing players, both newcomers and longtime fans, to witness the chaos of ancient China from the ground level. Unlike previous entries that jump between multiple perspectives, Origins offers a more focused narrative, concentrating primarily on the first half of the romance of the Three Kingdoms, all seen through the eyes of this original character. The story begins roughly 150 years after the Han Dynasty was established, a time when the empire was rapidly decaying and the people of China are suffering with endless wars, natural disasters, disease outbreaks, and to make matters worse, they are crushed under the weight of a corrupt government, one that exploits its own people rather than protecting them. This grim backdrop is essential because Origins takes more time than usual to emphasize why rebellion was inevitable, not just as a plot point, but as a human consequence. Our protagonist, Zilwan, arrives as a simple wanderer, drifting from village to village with no memory of his past and no clear goal for the future. During one such journey, he encounters a warrior who needs no introduction, Guan Yu. After assisting local villagers and witnessing firsthand the cruelty of government forces, Zilwan and Guan Yu are drawn into conflict. What begins as a small act of resistance quickly escalates into a full-scale clash involving the Yellow Turban Rebellion, led by Zhang Jiao himself. This moment is crucial. It's the point where personal survival turns into ideological conflict. From here, Zilwan sets out on a journey not just across battlefields but toward self-discovery. As he crosses paths with more legendary figures, each encounter pulls him deeper into the historical tide of the era. Battles are no longer just isolated events, they become stepping stones in a larger struggle that will eventually reshape China itself. Rather than portraying the Three Kingdoms as a series of disconnected wars, Origins frames them as an unavoidable chain reaction, with our protagonist caught right in the middle, searching for purpose as history unfolds around him. What can I say? This is where Dynasty Warriors Origins truly shines. The gameplay isn't just improved, it's refined. Every weapon in the game has a clear sense of weight and identity. Unlike previous entries where combat often devolved into simple button mashing to trigger flashy combos, Origins demands intention. Each weapon plays differently, encouraging players to adapt rather than repeat the same inputs endlessly. Take the sword, for example. It's lightweight, fast, and fluid, perfect for rapid strikes and aggressive movement. On the other hand, heavier weapons like the Crescent Blade feel deliberately slow, but every swing carries real impact. Each hit feels powerful, and every enemy reaction reinforces that sense of weight. This shift alone fundamentally changes how combat feels. Origins also introduces mechanics that push the Musou formula forward without abandoning it. The addition of a dodge and parry system is a major step for the franchise. Timing now matters. Positioning also matters. You're no longer just overpowering enemies, you're engaging with them. Also, the battle art system that they introduced in the beginning. Sure, they already used this in the previous game, but here, battle arts are no longer just power buttons, they're tools. Each one is tied to specific weapons and combat situations, encouraging players to think about when and how they use them rather than spamming them after a cooldown. On top of that, this game brings back duels, a feature not seen since Dynasty Warriors 4. These one-on-one encounters break up the large-scale battles and add tension, turning key officers into actual threats rather than health bars to be erased. It's a welcome return, and one that longtime fans will immediately recognize and appreciate. Now let's talk about the open world, or rather, the semi-open world. Instead of repeating the same mistakes that Dynasty Warriors 9 made, which was overly ambitious in my opinion, Origins opts for a more contained and purposeful structure. Areas are open enough to encourage exploration, but never so large that they feel empty or directionless. This approach strikes a much better balance. Exploration feels intentional, progression stays focused, and battles remain the core experience. By scaling back the world design, Origins avoids the lifeless sprawl that plagued Dynasty Warriors 9 and replaces it with something far more engaging. At its core, Dynasty Warriors Origins understands one crucial truth: bigger doesn't mean better. By prioritizing polish, weight, and thoughtful design over sheer scale, the game delivers a combat experience that feels modern, satisfying, and more importantly, true to the spirit of Dynasty Warriors itself. I can't even begin to explain how much I love the Dynasty Warriors series. These games filled my childhood. I still remember the first time my brother invited me to play, handing me the controller, throwing me into a battlefield full of enemies, and then watching my mind completely explode as I took down hundreds of enemy soldiers with my own character. That feeling of power, chaos, and epic scale, nothing else felt like it. And for a long time, it felt like that magic was gone. In the end, Dynasty Warriors Origins doesn't reinvent the wheel, and it doesn't need to. Instead, it does something far more important. It remembers what Dynasty Warriors is supposed to be. By narrowing its narrative focus, grounding the story through a single original protagonist, and delivering the most polished combat the series has seen in years, Origins proves that the franchise was never truly dead, it was simply lost. The game trades empty ambition for meaningful design, replacing lifeless scale with weight, intention, and identity. The refined combat system, distinct weapon playstyles, and a carefully structured semi-open world all work together to restore the series' core fantasy, standing alone on a battlefield and turning the tide of history through sheer skill and presence. For longtime fans like me, Dynasty Warriors Origins feels like coming home. For newcomers, it serves as one of the best entry points the series has ever had. It may not be perfect, but it is honest, focused, and confident. And after years of missteps, that confidence is exactly what Dynasty Warriors needed. This isn't just a comeback, it's a second chance, redemption, earned. Origins didn't just revive the series, it reminded me as a fan why I fell in love with Dynasty Warriors in the first place.